Okay, we're doing almost the same thing that we did yesterday, just a little bit different. Today we're going to concentrate on writing the equations of lines that are parallel or perpendicular to a certain line that we're given, pass through a certain point. So just kind of as a reminder, if we think back to the previous sections, parallel lines, remember parallel lines are lines that will never ever cross. They have the same slope. So if one line has a slope of 2, any line parallel to that line is also going to have a slope of 2. So we're going to use that to write the equation of a line that's parallel to a given line and passes through a certain point. So we'll learn how to do this in just a second. So I want to write a line that is parallel to 4x, y equals 4x minus 8, and passes through 0, 2. Remember yesterday I said you needed two things to write the equation line. You need your slope and you need your y-intercept. Now I'm not given either one because I have to write a brand new line, or a brand new equation. Now, I don't know the slope of my new line, but I do know that the slope of this line is 4. And if my new line is going to be parallel to this line, I know that its slope also has to be 4. So I know the slope. Now I just need to find the y-intercept. Remember yesterday, if we looked at the equation of a line, we were able to plug in a number for y, a number for m, and a number for x. Well, we already know what the slope is, and I also know that this line passes through 0, 2. So I also have an x and I have a y. So if we plug 2 in for y, 4 in for m, 0 in for x, we can solve for b. And we end up with 2 equals b. So the equation of a line parallel to this line is y equals 4x plus 2. Parallel lines are pretty easy. Let's try another one. I want to write an equation of the line that's parallel to y equals negative 2x plus 5 and passes through the point 0, 3. Okay, so I need the slope and I need the y-intercept. Now I know that my new line has to be parallel to this line. So if the slope of this line is negative 2, the slope of my new line also has to be negative 2. And to find my y-intercept, we're going to use my generic equation of the line. I have an x, I have a y, so instead of y, we're going to plug in 3. We're going to plug negative 2 in for m, 0 in for x, and we're going to solve for b. And we end up with b equals 3. So I have my y-intercept, I have my slope, I can write the equation of the line. Okay, I want you guys to do this next one. I want you to write an equation of the line parallel to y equals 1/2 x minus 2 and passes through the point 0, negative 4. So go ahead and pause the video and write that equation for me. Okay, you should have got y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Okay, so parallel lines are pretty easy. We also want to be able to write lines that are perpendicular to the given line. Now, perpendicular lines, remember, meet at a 90-degree angle. Now, if we look at the slopes of perpendicular lines, they are going to be negative reciprocals of each other. So if one of my lines is A, the slope of a line perpendicular to this line will be negative 1 over A. So really all we're going to do is we're going to change the number into its opposite, and then we're going to flip it over. And then we can find the slope of my new line. So we're going to do 3 of these also. Okay, so the equation that we're going to be looking at is y equals negative 5x plus 1 and passes through the point 0, negative 9. Okay, now the slope of this line is negative 5. If I want to write an equation of a line perpendicular to this line, its slope is going to have to be the negative reciprocal. Now first off, I notice that this slope is already negative, so I know my new slope is going to be positive. And the reciprocal of 5 is 1/5. So the slope of my new line is going to be 1/5, the negative reciprocal of negative 5. and then we're going to find the y-intercept the exact same way we did before. I have an x, I have a y, and I have my slope. So plug -9 in for y, 1/5 in for m, 0 in for x, solve for b. So b equals -9. So my equation should be y equals 1/5 x minus 9. Alright, let's look at y equals 1/4 x plus 12 and passes through the point 0, -4. Okay, now if I look at the slope of this line, it's a positive 1/4. So the slope of my new line is going to be the negative reciprocal of that. Now this time my slope is positive, so my new slope is going to be negative, and the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4. So my new slope is -4. Then I need to find my y-intercept. I have an x, I have a y, I have an m. Plug -4 in for y, -4 in for m, 0 in for x, and solve for b. You should end up with b equals -4. So my equation of the line is y equals -4x minus 4. Okay, I want you guys to do the last one on your own. Write me the equation of the line that is perpendicular to y equals -3x plus 2 and passes through the point 0, 2. Go ahead and pause the video and then check your answer. Okay, you should have got y equals 1/3 x plus 2. Okay, now let's glance down here at this last problem here. This table below shows the amount of cash in dollars left from $25 after X loads of laundry have been done at the laundromat. Write an equation for the function. Now it looks a little different, but I actually have a table of x's and y's. It's just written the other way. I have an x of 0 and a y of 25, an x of 1, a y of 23, 2 and 21, 3 and 19. So if I rewrite that straight up and down, I actually have 4 points on a graph. What I really want to do is write the equation of this line. So to write the equation of the line, I first need to find the slope. So if we look at these first 2 points, this is really like 0, 25 and 1, 23. So if I want to find the slope, I would look at my change in y. 25 minus 23 gives me 2 over my change in x. 0 minus 1 gives me a -1. So my slope is going to be -2. Okay, now that I have my slope, I need to find my y-intercept. So just like before, we can plug in any of these numbers here to find my y-intercept. It doesn't matter which one you use. Most of the time there's an easy one. So if we use that first one, 25 equals, instead of m, plug in -2. Instead of x, we're going to plug in 0. We're going to solve for b. So I get 25 equals b. So the equation of my line should be y equals -2x plus 25. Now before we move on, I actually didn't even have to go through this step here. And the reason why, on a function we have what's called an initial value. An initial value describes where my function starts at, or what y is when x is 0. My initial value is the same thing as my y-intercept. So I could just look at my table, and if I see I have an x of 0, that y is my y-intercept. Well, that's how we find our y-intercept anyway, right? If we want to find the y-intercept, we plug 0 in for x. If we want to find the x-intercept, we plug 0 in for y. So when x is 0, y is 25. So really, if you recognize that, you can skip that step there and go straight down to here.